And we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Connected for Real podcast. Last week, we spoke about how to create flow in life. And today, I want to follow up and talk about the 4 pillars that create flow in life. Okay, so we talked, I gave you a lot about the background, the behind the scenes of how I do it, of what I do, of my experience, where I was before and where I am now. If you did not watch that, go and watch it or listen to it on the podcast. And today I want to talk about the 4 pillars that create flow. Now, I came up with these 4 pillars when I was first designing my mastermind. And in case you are interested, there is a mastermind opening up in July. So make sure to get in touch with me as soon as possible so we could talk about that. You can schedule a call. There's a link below to come and, chat with me. It's called Let's Chat. And I will be more than happy to coach you through whatever you need, or, find the things that you need to get clarity on so that you can move forward. And this does not mean you have to commit to anything. Let's Chat is really all about that. It's, chatting together to find what is best for you. I do not want you to be like, oh, I don't want to waste her time. I don't know. Should I join? Should I not? Because I am clearing out my schedule this week specifically for this, so I can help you and give you my time. So please take advantage of that and sign up for the Let's Chat, sort of like call. And it's on Zoom. You'll get to see me. It's going to be great. I highly encourage you to think ahead of time of like, what is the burning question that you want to work on? What is the thing that is really keeping you stuck, or what is in your way of getting to where you want to go? Because that's going to be the most juicy for us to work on. Okay. So let's begin with the 4 pillars. The 4 pillars are God, marriage, business, you. And they don't necessarily have to mean all those things to every person. But in my program, I created something called Flow, the Flow Mastermind. And Flow stands for finding God in everything. That is pillar number 1. Loving your marriage. That's pillar number 2. Optimizing your business. So that's pillar number 3. And you as your whole self. Wholeness, what was the actual words I used? See, this is the raw, real me. You as your whole self was for fly. The W stands for wholeness, something, don't remember. Okay. Oh, welcome the whole you. That's what it was. Okay. So W is welcome the whole you. Okay, so those are the 4 pillars. Now, I want to talk to you about each one and explain why those are the pillars. Okay, so first thing, God is always at the core. And being able to bring God into the situation is going to give us clarity, guidance, help, focus. It's just going to change the vibration of what is happening in our situation, right? It's almost automatic when you bring God into it. Now, I was sitting at a networking event. I told you 2 weeks ago, someone said, what does that even mean? How do you bring God into it? And that's exactly what we talk about in the mastermind, is how do we bring God into it? And what are the practical ways that I can implement into my life in order to create that flow. So definitely we get very practical, very granular about the ways and the strategies. But for you listening right now, I want you to just think about what it means for you to bring God into it. Is it just pausing and thinking about God? Is it asking for help? Just, being able to say, God, help me. Is it the language that we're using with God's help, right? Or is it something that I can do that feels like I am going out of myself It's not all about me. I am not in the, I'm not in control. I'm not the one who is telling everything where to go and what to do, sort of like letting go a little bit of that control and allowing God in to show me, right? So this can look very different for every person, but the core thing is that God is at the core. Okay? Now, the next pillar is your marriage. And as you know, I talk to everyone, even married people who are not married. And I love that all of you are getting so much out of it, even if you're not the exact niche or, person who is my target audience, quote unquote. But I think marriage is something that creates the most opportunities for growth. Your husband is here as a mirror so that you can see what you need to focus on in yourself. And when we get confused or we fall into this illusion that he is annoying or doesn't care or is, selfish or any of the things that we think about our husbands, when we fall into that, we're in such a low place that we end up reacting to that in a really negative way. So what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about the people in your life, specifically your husband, because he is that very, very enlarging mirror, shows you every pore and every little like wrinkle that you need to see in yourself. It doesn't feel nice. And on the other hand, it also pushes us to the most growth. And the potential of how much growth and breakthrough you can have depends on how much you are able to lean into that marriage. Okay. So I am specifically talking to women who are married because the fact that you are married has put you in a structure that allows for the breakthroughs to come in a much simpler and in flow way. Okay. So you might think, I'm stuck in this system. Maybe it's not exactly what I expected. Maybe God didn't really hear my prayers and got the wrong message about what I want. And like, how did I end up with this guy and what's going on? Right. But when you can stop and look at your marriage, your husband, and the possibility for growth and the possibility for flow, you will start to pick up on exactly what you need to do. It's almost like instead of thinking, oh my gosh, I have to change everything and do everything and like, everything is falling apart. The marriage is really helpful in focusing in on the one thing that you need to work on right now. So if you think he is being selfish, then you will be focusing on your selfishness and just notice where it's coming up, notice how it is coming up, where you can remedy that within yourself and allow it to change and sort of transform. And you'll see that your husband will start to change without you having to do anything. This is one of my favorite things. The husbands love me for doing this. People say, oh, you do marriage coaching? Okay, so do you work with the couple? I'm like, no, I don't work with the couple. I only work with the wife. The reason why I only work with the wife is because the husband's off the hook. He is so not part of what we need to work on, right? If you take your husband and say, you need to change, then you are automatically setting him up to be defensive and annoying and reactive and close up and dig his heels even deeper into the ground. He's not going to want to change because you're making him change. And by the way, if he did the same to you, you would do the same to him, right? We do not like to be told that we need to change. But when I can take him out of his responsibility of needing to change, and I take responsibility for my own change, then it allows him to see the actual roadmap to change. It allows him to see the before and after, and he actually likes the new change. And so it models for him what we're expecting and creates an openness to get there. Okay, so marriage is really, really important in the pillars. And I see it as half God and half life, right? Because God put us here with this mission, and we are living in an alignment sort of way. But when it's not aligned, this is where it feels the most painful. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm not saying parenting first is because your marriage comes first before your parenting. And a lot of times parenting comes up in the masterminds, and we address the parenting, but only after we address the marriage. We always bring it back up because the marriage affects the parenting so much. And you know this already, right? You know that they having kids and having to make these decisions about different things that they are dealing with and how we see things differently is going to trigger a lot of stuff that will come up in the marriage. So if we can address the marriage, then we're addressing the core, and it's going to trickle down to the kids in a much healthier way, in a much more indirect way. And I like that. Okay. So when I talk about marriage, I'm talking about all relationships. You know, we also talk about in-laws. We also talk about siblings. Everything comes up, but the marriage is the core. Okay. So marriage is the second pillar. The third pillar is business. And some of you are not in business. And the new mastermind that I'm opening, ConnectedForReal Mastermind, is for everyone. So it is not necessarily that you have to have a business in order to join. Of course, if you do have a business, you're going to get a lot out of it. It's actually going to end up being, half business coaching and half marriage coaching and all the rest of the stuff, because we touch on business once a month. But when I talk about business, I'm not talking about people who are in it for the money. And all of you guys who are in business know this. If you're following me, we're not in business for the money. We're in business for the impact. We're in business for the legacy. We're in business for the purpose. We are doing the thing that we're doing because we are lit up and we feel the need to just go and go and overflow, right? It's like I've created flow in my life, so much so that I need to overflow and make sure that you create flow in your life. And by doing that, I also make sure that I am up leveling my own flow, because there is a cycle that happens when you give, you receive, and there is something really healthy and beautiful about this flow. So when I talk about business and optimizing your business, sometimes for you, this might mean optimizing the way that you lean into your purpose, whatever that looks like for you, right? Sometimes it's, how do I create impact and leave a legacy that is going to stay beyond my years? I have in my mastermind right now 3 ladies who are in their 60s, and I love the way that they are seeing business and legacy and purpose from their point of view. How do I lean into the gifts and the experiences and the stories and the things that I have to give in a way that actually reaches the right people, right? Because I can, talk to the screen as much as I want, but if nobody's going to hear it, then it's going to be really sad, right? Then there's not going to be that continuation. So optimize your business for you is, how do I make sure that my message and that movement is getting heard and getting the energy that it needs in order to create the movement and the legacy that I want. Okay. So, just notice how it hits for you. Either way, if you're in business, we're still talking about purpose, legacy, message, how to get the messaging across, how to create flow in the optimization and the systems and the automations. We talk about practical things, super, super practical. And I love that. I love that we can be so up here in the connected for real and, really connected the, in the fluffy sense, but also be super grounded and super practical when it gets to, okay, so how? So what do I do? So what's my homework, right? And you're going to come up with your own action steps. I don't have to tell you, but if you need help, we address the practicality very much. And the last part is you, right? Welcome the whole you as your whole self. This is one of the pillars that I think is almost as important as all the other. I was going to say like the most important, but you can't have one without the other. So it's a little difficult to say that. You as your whole self means that if, let's say, God is at the core and we have all the parts of our life, marriage, business, parenting, whatever it is, right? All sort of like playing like a puzzle, fitting into each other around that God, right? So you as your whole self would be that container that holds all of that contraption. You hold that. And the more that you hold, the more you're going to feel you are doing, right? But also the more overwhelmed and the more busy and the more stressed you could get. So in order to create space and not have to feel like my plate is full, we're constantly expanding ourselves. Okay? So you are the one holding all these things, and we never want to get to a point where we're feeling like, oh, my plate is full. I can't do this anymore. I need to take something off my plate. So no, that is a wake-up call for you to be like, oh, I need to expand. I need to allow for more space. I need to allow for more receptiveness. And so you are going to find that very often we will focus in the weeks that are the you-focused weeks, to welcome all of the parts of you, to expand all the parts of you, and really set yourself up to receive in a way that you've never received before. Okay. And that could be receive help. It could be receive assistance from, assistance and delegating. It could be automating. It could just be opening yourself up for more love and more abundance and more beauty. And we're actually going to take steps in order to feel this in our life. But this is really an amazing, amazing concept that I had to find for myself when I was working with creating what I've created so far. Is like, what are the things that have to be taken care of all the time? So for me, it looks like reflexology, massage, facials, yoga, smoothies, having healthy fruits and vegetables, and making sure that I'm eating well. All those things were really clear to me. Also exercise, swimming, right? There's all these different parts of me that I had to get in touch with in order to allow myself to have that expansion. And whenever I'm feeling very tight and very constrained, I know I need to do something for myself. And sometimes it's just go out for a walk, just breathe, just, be in a place that is not limited, and let that sky and the, abundance of view fill me up. Okay. So we're going to find what is unique to you. And this is something that is really important, because when I ran the marriage breakthrough retreat, and I don't know if you were part of it, but if you were, it was one of the most fun experiences. I ran it 9 times and I met over 900 women through this. So beautiful, so beautiful. When day 1 comes and I open the marriage breakthrough retreat and we talk about connecting to yourself, right? Connecting to yourself is step 1. And you need to know what you love and what makes you come alive and what makes you happy. This opens up a whole can of worms for people, because when did you have a chance to actually sit down and focus on this? When was the last time you thought, what do I actually want? Probably at the retreat, if you were in it, right? And I have women who've taken the retreat multiple times and say that every time they find more and more things that they can find to write on that list. And I too, I'm like, I used to write what I like to eat. And then I realized, actually, I love glass. I love glass cups. And so now I ask my kids not to give me water in a plastic cup. I really enjoy glass cups. I enjoy beautiful, real silverware and real plates. So we've totally taken plastic out of our house just because it makes me feel more abundant when we're using real things to eat. So it takes time for you to develop this awareness of what do I like and how do I like it. And it takes something that's even deeper than that, the willingness to want. And we talk about this in the mastermind. The willingness to want, the willingness to open up and allow the abundance in, right? Sometimes we're like, that's impossible, so I'm not even going to want it. So no, I want you to want it. I want you to want it. Okay. So we spoke about the 4 pillars to create flow. The 4 pillars, again, are God, marriage, business, and you. And what this means is that when you can find balance with all these, you will find balance in your life. What I'm finding is one of the biggest issues with women in business is that they join a business mastermind because they want to grow their business. The business mastermind is only focused on business, so they will push in their business, and they will sort of neglect the other parts of themselves, creating a really awkward leaning towards the business and a lot of resentment in the other parts of themselves. Sometimes it's even self resentment or, whatever is going to come up with that, for you. Each person's different. But I've met and I have friends who went all in their business and got the right coaching and the right people and started building, and their money was coming in and they were like successful. And then what happens is you create a monster that you have to keep feeding. So it never actually gets to a point where you're like, oh, now I'm happy. I just made 6 figures. No, it's like, oh my God, I made 6 figures. And now I have this machine that can create 6 figures at any moment. So all I need to do is feed it more people, feed it more stuff. And so you're constantly running after the next thing and the next thing and never really taking a break. So this is an amazing opportunity for me to tell you about my program, because my mastermind is designed to make sure that you never have that lopsidedness, that you never fall into a rhythm where you are focusing so much on one thing and forgetting all the other parts, because we are so well-rounded in the way that we address everything. And so you are going to find that even if you're obsessing over your business in your head and you're trying to find the right way and the right words and the right messaging, you are always going to be brought back to, but wait, what's going on with all the other parts of you? Okay. And this is the same with all of the other things. You cannot be so focused on serving God without actually serving, right? Like I have friends who are so obsessed with getting more religious and being more connected and getting to all the classes that they forget to be practical in their life. They forget that they need to live. They forget that they need to do their mission here. Right? So we're going to pull you back and say, whatever you are learning and all the things that you are developing in are going to have to now come to fruition. Implement what you're learning and don't just leave it up here in your mind or down in your notes, right? So we're going to make sure that we integrate all the different parts of you and focus on all the different parts of you so that you become whole in a very holistic way. Okay. I welcome you to come and talk to me. As I said, this week I opened up my schedule to have room for chats, and I look forward to speaking with you. I find that speaking in person lights me up. It also helps me hear exactly what you need and what you want. So instead of me talking at you like I'm doing right now, looking at a screen, speaking, and having awkward pauses because I'm trying to think, what else did I forget? When I am live with somebody on Zoom, everything sort of just flows, and I'm able to give them exactly what they need. I'm able to adjust that little bit to say, hey, I think this is where the issue is. And then, it just sort of opens up a whole world of possibilities. So I want to do that for you. I want to gift you this right before the summer is. It's, some of you have started summer vacation. Some of you are, looking into it right now, like I am. Next week is already camp season. So we're like really on the fence of school versus camp. I want you to have the best summer. I want you to have the best experience. I want you to enjoy your kids. I want you to enjoy your life. I want you to come alive. One of the things that came up for me in a meditation that Ozzy did for us at that networking event is live like you're alive. Live like you're alive. I want you to not fall into that rhythm of another day, another thing to survive. And yes, I have a lot to say about that. And I think I'm going to leave it to the next podcast. The obsession of, being busy, the addiction to drama, our need to complain because it keeps us down. And I'm going to talk more about that in the next podcast. But for now, I want you to just think about that. Are you allowing things to be easy? Are you allowing God to show you how to get things done and where the money is going to come from? And are you opening yourself up to that abundance? I heard something really beautiful. It was, you're either holding on to your excuses or you're holding on to your dreams. And I want you to hold on to your dreams. The excuses can fall. That's okay. We don't need them. Okay? So let's talk. I can't wait. And I will see you next week. I welcome you into the mastermind if this is the right thing for you. We don't have that many spots left, and I want to make sure that you are at least raising your hand, if not joining. Okay. So even if you're not sure, if you don't think it's for you, if you are a little bit here, a little bit there, let's talk about it and I will help you. And I promise I will not ever push anybody in. I actually don't think as a coach that it is helpful for you to be pushed in, because then you don't do it fully. So I'm only looking for people who are fully committed and fully in. And you're going to be ready. When you're ready, you're ready. I also sent out an email this week about, if you're not on my email list, go into ConnectedForReal.com and just get on the email list all the way at the bottom. But what I was going to say is I got an email from someone. Oh, in my email, I said, you can either join now and have the best summer of your life and the best holiday season and finish up the fiscal year really strong, or you can join us in January for the next round, right? And she sent back a whole message saying that she wants to be put in the waiting list for January. So I love that. I love that self-awareness. I love that ability to say, I want, right? I am ready. Even if it's not right this second, I want to be put on the waiting list for January. And I want to make sure that I set myself up for that experience. So if that is you, let me know, because I have a feeling that the next round is going to almost sell itself out before I even talk about it. But I am really happy to, talk to you, welcome you in, and address whatever is on your mind. So with that, I wish you all a wonderful week. I love you, and I can't wait to speak to you. Make sure you find the link and schedule your Let's Talk session. Don't forget to be connected for real.